Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Joel C, back with another makeup look for you all. And this week we're back for week 3. I don't know what this is, but this is week 3 of my followers from TikTok pick my makeup. Please forgive the, appearance today of the mug. I have literally done makeup I think like 3 or 4 days in a row, and it's been some heavy glam, so there's still some residual product left over. Please don't judge me. A bitch does double cleanse, but I was feeling lazy, damn it. But without further ado, let's get this road on the show. And yes, I am aware that I said that wrong. I did it on purpose. So as always, I always ask you all on my Instagram to vote on the respective look that you all want to see. So this week, you all voted on this look. So today, to accomplish that look, we're going to use the Lunar Beauty Strawberry Dream palette again. But right before we get started, you have to make sure that you are following me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also, obviously the most important, that you're subscribed and that you also hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of whenever I upload a video. I mean, come on, you want that, right? I think you want that. If you don't want that, I'm gonna need you to want that. So the very first step, as always, is to prime the eye, and I'm gonna use the P. Louise base in Rumor 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that all over the lid to prime the eye. As you can see, I'm applying this with a brush, and this brush is a Morphe 518, just a very large, dense brush that helps just pack a lot of product on, but also kind of diffuse the edges so that you're not left with, harsh lines. All right, so now that I have my eyes all primed, the very first shade that I'm gonna dip into is Skyline, which is a matte peachy shade here. So we're gonna go ahead and dip into that using a Morphe M441 brush. You all, I forgot how delicious this palette smells. Oh, it smells so good. So now that I have gone in and laid down Skyline, I'm gonna go ahead with the shade Sunrise, which is this gorgeous kind of coral orange matte shade. And I'm gonna go ahead and deepen out this color now and just transition it into a deeper shade. I'm applying the shade using a Made by Mitchell MC3 brush. So now that we're done applying the shade Sunrise over the Skyline shade, we're gonna go into the shade Blue Sky. And I'm gonna use that to go ahead and go into that crease and start, just putting in that blue that starts to really deepen out and like give that contrast to the. All right, so I'm gonna switch to a Morphe M514 just to get a larger spread of color, still using that same shade Blue Sky. All right, so now you can see that we've laid down that Blue Sky shade. It's starting to really give that depth to the crease area. So now the next thing to do would be to go in with the shade Haze, which is that navy blue shade here. So we're gonna dip into that matte shade now. It's like a cobalt blue. And now I'm gonna use my Morphe M506. And that's gonna be a good detailed way to blend and get into a small concentrated area, but still be able to blend. And that's gonna give it that final bit of depth into the crease area. All right, so now that we have that cobalt blue haze shade all blended in, we're gonna go in with the Blank Canvas Paint by P. Louise and Mitchell. And I'm gonna take this onto a 7072 brush, which is just a flat synthetic tip brush from P. Louise. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut my crease. While this base is still wet, I'm gonna go in with the shade Cloudy. And I'm just gonna use another flat synthetic brush like this, and I'm gonna go ahead and just dip into that matte shade to set my blank canvas in place. All right, so now that I set that blank canvas with that cloudy matte shade, I'm gonna go ahead and replicate that onto the other side now. All right, so as you can see, I replicated that onto the other side now, and I also went in with that cobalt blue shade again and just kind of blended that end of the cut crease into the actual eyelid space. So it looks a little bit more cohesive, everything kind of ties together. So now it's time to add some of those shimmers onto the eye look. The very first one we're gonna dip into is going to be Blue Diamond, which is probably the most stunning shade in this palette. To apply that, I'm gonna use a Morphe E40 brush. It's just a little mini fan brush. Now with my ring finger, I'm gonna go into that same Blue Diamond shade, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply that onto this portion where it transitions on the cut crease. So half on that blue and half on that pink. And now taking a Morphe M455, I'm gonna take that same shade, Blue Diamond, and I'm gonna apply that to the tear duct. I was a little extra and I put some NYX glitter primer right there just to go ahead and really make sure that this pigment pops. It doesn't need it, but I just really wanna make sure it's blinding. And now you can see how that just kinda amped it up a notch. All right, so now that I went ahead and popped that shimmer into the tear ducts, I'm gonna go ahead and prime underneath the lower lash line so that I can go ahead and add a little bit more pigment and finish off this eye look. All right, so now that I have primed the under eye with that P. Louise base, I'm gonna go in now with a Moda brush. This is their crease brush, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Pink Flash, which is this gorgeous hot pink matte. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply that to the lower lash line, or at least underneath it. You all are probably noticing that I'm taking that shade and also putting it like right here at the beginning of the nose contour where the brow bone kind of starts. So I'm putting that in there just to kind of ground out, this pink. You don't want to have just like the random color out of nowhere. Sometimes that looks great, but in this case, we want to make sure that that pink doesn't kind of clash. Now I'm gonna take that Morphe M506 that had the cobalt blue shade haze, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply that to the rest of the lower lash line. All right, so as you can see, that is nice and laid down into my lower lash line. So I'm gonna go in now with my Stila Smudge Stick Waterproof Eyeliner. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that into the waterline, also maybe tight line a little bit, I'm not sure. All right, so now that I have the eye area pretty much done, I'm just gonna go in with some moisturizer and start prepping the skin for my base and all of that. To prime my skin today, I'm gonna be using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. And I've been obsessed with this stuff, I'm not even gonna lie. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead with my foundation and I'm going to use the Juvia's Place Shade Stick in the shade Madagascar. And love this stuff, it's pretty full coverage and also gives a pretty natural finish even though it's pretty full coverage and even, I don't know, I say natural finish, but there's definitely a matte kind of element to it. To blend this all out, I'm gonna be using a Beauty Bakery Sophisticated Stippling Foundation Brush. All right, so now that we have the base all blended out, I'm gonna be using the Fenty Beauty Concealer in the shade 330. And I'm gonna apply that right into the common places that we all kind of apply concealer. And I'm just gonna get rid of this whiteness that's underneath the under eye now. Now using a Beauty Bakery sponge, I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that out. All right, you all, so as you can see now, I'm in the process of just setting all of this in place. The setting powder I use is a mix of like Ben Nye, Maybelline, and CoverGirl, and e.l.f. So feel free to experiment, like I've said before, and find, you know, like a good powder blend that just works for you, you know, like something between a fine milled powder and a baking powder. Those are all amazing because they all have their own purpose, you know. Baking powders are a little thicker. They're meant to have like a blurring kind of, you know, effect. And, you know, the particles are just bigger. It's not as finely milled. Now, when you look at like jet milled powders and stuff like that, that's when we start to get into really fine HD powders and whatnot. Those obviously will kind of reach into fine lines a lot easier. So I don't know what is happening with my voice anymore. But yes, if that is something that you are looking for your powder to do, that might be a powder that you want to look into. All right, so now that I said everything, I'm just gonna go back in there and make sure that none of that color intensity was lost during the setting process, and that the edges of this blend are still very soft and they go into the skin very seamlessly. All right, so now that we've gone back in there and made sure that the eye area is good and seamless, we're gonna go in with a Morphe E8 brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put in my contour lines. All right, so now that I'm all contoured up, I'm gonna go in with a Morphe M177, and I'm gonna go in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Endless Summer, and I'm gonna go ahead and bronze right now. All right, so now that we are all contoured and bronzed up and we basically have some life back in our face, because we all know that setting it can make you just look like a corpse. I'm now gonna go in with the Made by Mitchell blush in the shade Cherry Cola. And as you can see, that is a stunning, like mauve-y kind of shade. Love this for a blush for me. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that, or rather blend it out with a Moda brush, and this is their complexion brush. As you can see, I'm going over top of set makeup with this, and it is absolutely amazing. It performs so well. Just gonna go ahead and apply that to the other side now. All right, now with a Morphe M310 fan brush, I'm gonna go into the Morphe 8S Stellar Impact Highlighter Palette, and look at y'all. So beautiful. I'm gonna be going in with the shade Ultraviolet, which is this purple here, and just really go ahead and set off this, this look. All right, so I also obviously went ahead and popped some lashes on. So I'm gonna go in now and line the lips. We put that highlighter on. We're literally in the home stretch. So to line the lips, I'm gonna be using Lime Crime's Velvetine Lip Liner in the shade Fiona. All right, so now that I've gone ahead and lined the lips, I'm gonna be going in with my Beauty Bakery Liquid Lip in the shade Honey. All right, so as you can see, I went ahead and popped that lip color right into the middle, and I created this little ombre lip moment. I'm gonna be going in with the Lime Crime Extra Pop-In Lip Gloss in the shade Bitter Cherry. All right, so as you can see, I went ahead and popped that gloss on, and this, you guys, is literally the final look. So I hope you guys all love it, like it, and enjoy it. And I'm gonna go ahead and set this in place now with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. But nonetheless, this is the finished look, everybody. So if you liked it, make sure that you go ahead and smash that thumbs up below. And also make sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, suggestions, feedback, you know, drama, tea, whatever the hell you want to hear and tell me about, girl. That's what the comment section's for. Also, while you're at it, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you're not gonna wanna miss when I upload a weekly video. And lastly, if you are not following me on my other platforms, you're missing out. I'm creating tons of content, so make sure that you're following me on Instagram, TikTok, and also Twitter. And with all that being said, like I normally say, if you're having a shitty week, I hope it's a fantastic weekend. And if you're having a shitty weekend, I hope it's a fantastic week. And if neither are working out for you, girl, then I'm rooting for you. Know that I'm rooting for you. We are all rooting for you, and how dare you? No, but really though, I hope that you all remain safe, and I will see you all next week. Bye.